Welcome to All Things Retreat Podcast. I'm Holly Porter, your host and CEO of Retreat R&R. With over 25 years of experience in designing transformative retreats, I'm here to share insights and inspiration to help you create extraordinary experiences. Whether you're a pro or just starting out, you'll find valuable ideas here. Enjoy the ride. Let's dive in. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the show today. We're going to be speaking with Tiffany Alexander. She embarked on a real estate investing journey in 2000 and has employed a wide range of strategies, including short sales, tax liens, and flipping multiple family properties. However, over the past 8 years, her focus has shifted primarily to promissory notes investing. Tiffany specializes in buying notes and investments and employing specialized investment strategies to maximize gains for herself and her clients. She has assisted over 1,000 people in the real estate field to identify and achieve their investment objectives through real estate and note investing. Tiffany's a devoted wife and mother who never stops working. She has been married to John since 2013 and is blessed with 2 lively daughters who keep the household buzzing. Tiffany and John aspire to raise their daughters to be impactful adults who contribute positivity to society. Welcome to the show, Tiffany.
I'm so excited. Thank you.
Get myself tongue-tied there. Well, I'm glad to have you here because this show will be a little bit different, speaking with retreat leaders, possibly retreat venues, or aspiring to be, both of those. So as you speak to them, I'm excited to have something a little bit different of a twist. Of course, I've been a real estate broker for 20 years. It's right in my realm of things too. And so I love that we're bringing you on. So thank you.
I can't wait. I love sharing all the real estate secrets for what this could look like for retreat leaders.
That is so true. Well, I love one thing. So Tiffany and I are, and I can't speak today. Tiffany and I are pretty new friends, but we've had quite a few conversations, and she's just one of those people that you're like, I feel like I've known you forever. And I know she has that tie with a lot of people because she's just a good hearted, kind person. And oh my gosh, she told me she talked to 32 people last week. So you can imagine how much, she never does stop working. Her brain probably is just going all night long. Do you ever sleep?
Yeah. I actually sleep well. I think that's how I can get so much done in the day.
Yeah, sleep's a big thing. We've had a sleep person on here before as well in one of our shows. Can't remember what number, but they say you should get 10 hours a night. I don't know very many people that get 10 hours. I once in a while do, and it feels great when I do. My favorite thing is to not have an alarm wake me up.
Yeah.
So I can just wake up on my own. It's so much
I always
better.
beat it. That's awesome. I credit magnesium. Everybody's deficient. You just got to throw that in at night before you go to bed.
So true. I do a magnesium spray, but I do it in the morning. I wish I'd do it at night, but I just don't like the feel of it. So I don't know. We all got to find what works for us. That's the bottom line, right? Well, let's talk about retreat and real estate connection. Okay. I've got a bunch of questions. I don't know if we're going to get through them all in our time. If all else fails, we'll bring it back another time, but let's start with the first one. Retreat leaders often need properties that can generate both impact and income. From your perspective, what makes a property a strong candidate for retreats versus traditional investment property?
All right. This one's great. This is if somebody's thinking of owning the place themselves, then deciding, hey, this is like my actual commercial use of this property. The idea is being able to analyze, and there's so many tools out there nowadays, darn near free ones with ChatGPT, to analyze what it is that's going to look like for you to get it up to what you need it to be, but also produce the income with like your highs and lows, not just like your cheery high, perfect score of what that's going to look like, to then figure out like, hey, can this not only be me, but bring the property to its highest and best use, but not just my retreats? So you can decide which days you could potentially have other people come in and do retreats also if it aligns with your beliefs and your use of the property. It's being able to have exactly what some of my mentors say is the highest and best use of the property that you're getting into, with identifying what the numbers look like. There is something in real estate called the 1% rule, which just means, hey, if I go buy something for $100,000 and I can get a rental coming in for potentially a tenant that's $1,000 a month, that is a 1% rule, which means it's a good fit. Meaning like you probably have enough room for vacancy and repairs and rehab and taxes and insurance on all of the above. And there are just some states where that rule breaks. But being able to do higher cost retreats, you would expect at least the financing would work out, and at least being able to identify that the numbers for that property, if it would work out well for you, and knowing that you need to have an angle of highest and best, being able to stare at it.
Yeah, I love that. So how, if they think more creatively about getting a property or financing or acquiring a venue, let's talk about a traditional mortgage or a non-traditional. Let's just explain those a little bit, what those look
Oh, this gets into my favorite part, by the way. If everybody wants to know, I want to talk about it with you. And this is where I like to bring up Whose Line Is It Anyway show, where Drew Carey used to come on and say, "Hey guys, welcome to Whose Line Is It Anyway?" Where the rules are made up and the points don't matter. Your numbers are made up and the points don't matter. Meaning, like, if I can show you a property that you want to go make an offer on, whether it's listed or not listed, you should be able to walk in with this no numbers have ever been put into concrete, that you could go left or you could go all the way right to be able to present a solving factor of the person that wants potentially to get rid of a property, and you would be able to creatively finance. So traditional, you're going to put all your money down. You're going to put 20% down. Commercial property, 30% down. You're going to go to a bank. You're going to go to a lender. That is what the banks want you to do. That's what everybody expects you to do. And that is a portion of the pie. But let me just tell you, that's the portion of the pie. But the rest of it is going to dabble into creative finance, meaning hard money lenders, private money lenders, meaning owner carryback. This is where it gets really exciting, because you can actually just physically straight up ask the owner, "Hey, listen, I'd love to be the next owner of this property. What do you need back from this property?" And it could be like, "I want $1 million for it." Like, you're only prepared to pay 800, maybe it's worth 700. You literally could say, "Yeah, I'll give you $1 million if you let me pay you this payment until the loan is paid off. And by the way, don't throw some silly 10 years interest only and you're going to have a balloon payment." No, no, no. That's like old school made up, some sort of weird number that someone said throw at every problem. No, what do they need? What do they need? Maybe they only need $5,000 a month until the loan is paid off. This could be exactly a certain number of months, a principal only loan, because they don't need the interest. Maybe they just need that bigger number. So I can pay more for the property if I'm paying less interest, which in all reality is going to save you money over time. So it can go all the way left to all the way right. And every possibility is a possibility when you find out what they need and you're solving what they need, and you get to put yourself into that situation.
I love that. And I think people just don't realize, they don't think outside the box enough with lending. And everything's negotiable. I have to think that about everything in life, not just in real estate. Really, if you want something bad enough, I bet you can get a deal on it. Somehow there's a way you can figure it out.
Oh, yeah.
I know promissory notes, after you doing a lot of real estate type flips and things like that, have been kind of your sweet spot. Can you explain to our listeners? Because a lot of them may not even understand what I know. I didn't for years. I took lots of note classes and learned, but I love this idea. So talk about what a note is and how it could support building some long-term wealth.
I'm going to go down to the very, very basics, meaning like, what's the original note that you know what it is? And I keep this here. This is my business checkbook. This is a note. I promise that I'm going to pay someone something on a certain date, a certain amount, certain time, and I'm going to exchange that. So it's the exchange of the agreement with the payments that are going to come to fruition. Most people, when they think of a note, easily they know, oh, a car note, a car loan. And so the agreement could be written on the back of a cocktail napkin. It's a note and it's valid and will hold up in court. Now, there are legal reasons and not legal reasons of what you can say and do and promise. But as far as the note space, I fell into the note space because I was already doing real estate investing. And then I realized when the banks originated, or even hedge funds or mom and pops or neighbors originated notes between themselves, that is now an asset in and of itself that's usually filed against the property in a certain lien number position. And that asset could be sold. So that's when I tell you, go creatively finance, ask someone to carry back a loan. It's a very legitimate thing. And there's very common paperwork that's available to people, that if you're saying, I'm just going to ask somebody to be the bank for me, yes, you don't have to invent up that paperwork. There are people that are specialists in this space that can provide you what that paperwork is. So that way you guys are just figuring out the numbers and we get the nitty gritty down to what the county wants.
Well, and there's a lot of people with cash and they're looking for different options of what to do with it. Go to somebody who you know might have some cash and have them be your bank. But even better, if you could personally be the bank, that's really where you're going to make the money. Because think about all the interest you pay on a loan over 20, 30-year period of time. It's a lot of money.
Or even creative resources to be able to utilize. Like some people forget, well, gosh, I could pay myself the interest if I had a
Yes.
401k or a self-directed IRA that I could be the bank on something like this because it is an asset that you
Yes.
can, and meaning not just the property is the asset, but the documentation, the paperwork is the asset itself too.
That just reminded me in real estate when a lot of people don't realize if they have a big 401k, you're getting ready for retirement, or even if you're not, if you have a lot of money sitting in there, you can actually go buy a property. It has to be some kind of an investment property and you can't manage it or anything. You have to have a management company, but you buy it out of your 401k. And so all that interest is just going right back into your 401k for you later. I don't think a lot of people realize that's a thing. That's exciting, that people can do that because there you're making the interest off of money you have sitting there that you just thought you couldn't touch when you actually can touch if it's structured correctly.
Absolutely. And a lot of this information, believe it or not, if you knew how to dig for it properly, is freely available on the internet. So it's like, how do you just talk to someone really quickly on bouncing an idea back and forth to decide what this looks like? You just gotta go. You gotta know a guy. And if I need to be your guy, you just reach out to me and let me know. We'll figure it out. By all means, a lot of AI could be your guy. Hey, find me the top reasons why, or the top this, or I'm looking to do this. Tell me creative resources that I hadn't thought of yet and let it bring it to you.
And it will, and you'll be amazed at what information's out there. I love it. I used to say Utah. I'm in Utah. YouTube University was your best source, and now it's of course AI. But you can still learn a lot on YouTube University as well. Okay, so let's move back into retreat leaders. Let's say they're renting venues and they are thinking, how could I ever own my own? And how could I ever have this property become mine? Or they know something's for sale and they're drooling over wanting ownership. What are your suggestions for people in that situation?
It's going to be actually leaning into the same, meaning if you are loud enough, you're noisy enough, you're the squeaky wheel, or you've asked enough, at some point some of them are going to fall into your lap unless you're saying, I want your property for $1, right? Like there's has to be a
Yeah.
reasonable request or a reasonable ask, and just saying, hey, listen, have you ever thought of selling this? Let me know. I'd love to buy it. And you can even go as far as to write a single page letter that's not an offer, but it's called an LOI, a letter of intent. You can just say, hey, I intend to make you an offer. Have you ever thought about it? So that way you don't have to go through the entire process of filling out, like in California, 19-page offer for someone, but being able to say, hey, I intend to make you an offer. Would you ever consider it? So that way a single sheet of paper, a fax, or an email could literally get you in a conversation to ask someone, hey, would you ever consider selling this? I'd love to find out what your number is. And it may not even be the number. Like I said, the creative side of this isn't what the property price is, because if they're going to be your bank on this, you could sell it for more and then you could get the interest. Someone's going to get their price and someone's going to get their terms. So if they want their top dollar, then you're going to get the terms that are available for you. Or if they want the terms and you get the price, you get, I want you to buy it from me today. Well, I can give you all cash at half off, right? Like I'll go
Yeah.
find that money. So
Right.
it's
Right.
a lot of these little mini rule of thumbs that I guess you kind of carry with you as a real estate investor.
I love it. No, and it really is the bottom line. It's all about negotiation. I've done lots of letter intents for my clients before we've written a contract, and to me, it saves time. I wish we could do handshake deals. Honestly, I like the good old days when that was a thing. But you have to put everything in writing nowadays, so that's a good way to start. So I appreciate that. So let's talk about mission driven retreat leaders. How do you recommend balancing the heart of work, which is helping people, with their practical side of wealth building?
Well, I think you still have to just let everyone know, meaning like balancing all this stuff. I could go in so many different directions with this. Where my brain is going right now is getting people more involved with you, meaning let people carry the financial burden for you. So if we're going to get creative on you being able to host a retreat, let's make an ask. Like, hey, I'd love for you guys to be a sponsor in this. I'd love to have the donation involved in this. I'd love for us to have like an exchange of value for people so that you can be bigger and better in everything that you're doing, and being able to just let people know. That boils down to like creative finance, asking, marketing, showing up, and just telling people, but not forgetting to circle back around to the people who you're working with right now. Because I feel like my brain goes everywhere to answer that question. I hope I
Well,
did a good one.
yeah, no, that's good. Another thing I thought of when you were want to ask you the question too was a lot of retreat leaders are more, a little more to the woo woo side. It seems like that's yoga and people like that. Nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying it seems like there's more challenges around money with
Mhm.
people that are so heart centered that it's like they believe their gifts should be just given for free and not realize, you've done a lot to get those gifts, you've earned those gifts, and it's okay to be paid for those gifts as well. So
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of that mindset around making money and around doing these things, especially when the retreat, at least my experience has been with a lot of people. I feel like there's been a little bit of pushback with that.
A tiny bit. I do also have to constantly read stuff that's like affirmational to me, meaning
Yeah.
like there are gifts that you've been given, there are talents that you have in exchange for your talent that you should be able to charge for that. Meaning like I've got my 10,000 hours in real estate and I just should go around giving all of the advice and everything I've been giving for free and writing contracts for people. No, I mean there are charitable efforts of what can happen maybe potentially in your spare time, but you now have something that someone does not have, and you're now hosting this thing that by golly, your time is valuable. And the gift that you've been given is what you now have the ability to charge for. And if they had it on their own, they could go do it on their own. They need you in this time and space. And so you should be able to be respecting of yourself and your time to understand you have to pay yourself to do the things that you're doing right now. And then there's a time and a space for the charitable aspect of it too.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. So you've helped thousands of people in real estate. What mindset shifts do you think are most important for a retreat leader who may be brand new to investing?
Ooh, man, there's so many, but the first one I thought that I popped up of genuinely was, getting to know people, meaning, like, I love networking. I think everybody doesn't love networking, but if you're letting people know what it is that you do by putting yourself out there and by getting this warm market of people to say, "Hey, I care about you enough. Here's what it is that I do." Also, by the way, to not be scared to ask, and that's a part of the real estate thing that people need to know do intensely too, is showing up and making the ask. And so it's like, I also think that you might know people that know they need something that I'm doing. So it's okay for you not to just ask someone that you're networking with, but being able to ask if they know anybody that they would be willing to refer me also, because genuinely, if somebody came to ask you for a referral, you would give it to them. So I don't want you to shut yourself down to not be able to make that ask too, because if you flip flop the shoes, you would say, "Of course, you could come to me and ask for a referral." Worst case scenario, all I can say is, "Oh man, I don't have anybody." So just don't forget that generally most people are going to be kind on the ask of that on the other side too.
Yeah. And the other thing I would add to that, have something to ask for. I
Ooh,
think a lot of people get in that giver stage and they're just giving, 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 and they don't think about like, what is it I need? And then be really clear on what you need. So when you ask, it's clear because confusion just makes everybody shut down.
yep.
Yeah, I love that. So any other mindset tips you can share with retreat leaders specifically?
My favorite one, honestly, and it's a quote really from Bruce Lee. The master has failed more than the beginner has ever tried. And that just means if you're starting a brand new thing or you're an old dog that say you can't learn new tricks, you have to continue to show up. And a part of the showing up is making the ask. A part of the showing up, a part of the doing, a part of the trying a first retreat and you get zero people that are coming to the first one and then you get one or maybe you get 10 or maybe you get 100. I'm not sure what the number is for you, but if this is you talking to yourself and this is your true calling and what it is that you want to do with the gifts that you've been given that you've honed, you have to just continue to lean forward in it and trust that what it is you're doing right. And then being open to the advice of the people that are going to keep you hopefully on the right path where you're at. But the first failure wasn't really a failure, it was a learning experience. And the second failure, and whatever it is, they're never failures. It's the learning experience because now you know what not to do for that one and what you're going to
And then
do right
quit
for the next
repeating
one.
it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Realize that you did just have a lesson and quit repeating it. That seems to be my lesson from the lesson. So, Tiffany, tell us if someone was to ask you, what do you do? What do you say?
For me personally, my favorite thing to tell people is, man, I am a real estate investor because I dropped out of college and I fell into the space, but it turned me into a note investor, which then mentors pushed me to be this note investor now. And then I realized that isn't the end of my story. It was actually the beginning of my story, because I actually have the ability to impact thousands of people by helping them be saved from a poor mortgage choice. Something bad happened to good people. And so what I am right now, I am a lender with a heart, or a collector with a conscience, if you may. And that has turned me into this person that is leaning heavily into this note space, where I get to go in and show people creative finance and potentially save people in a spot where they are with their home. But also, the little side trail of all of this happening has turned me into a podcaster and a super connector. So if people are just thinking to themselves, I just want to pick your brain for a second, and there's no particular topic, I'm in. Like, I'm in. If you think right now you're listening to this and you're like, I just want to know you, I probably need to know you, because there's something that I need to pour into you as an encourager.
I love that. And I'm going to get personal. I'm just going to brag about you for a minute. So I had a client that I had a house listed that was in foreclosure for quite some time, and the date was coming and the clock was ticking and we weren't getting offers, and it was priced way under market, and it was a newer house, tons of equity in it. Tiffany, that's when we kind of met, and she just said, let's talk. Let's see if we can get on the phone to our mortgage company. So you took the time to do that with her. And it wasn't self-serving on your part, because it could have been something that you could have helped her to get out of and took the loan and had equity and known it could have been a good situation. But instead, you got her mortgage company to revisit the whole loan. And now she's out of foreclosure, and we're still waiting to hear the final result, but it sounds like they're going to work with her. So if people are in that kind of situation, again, goes back to the whole thing that I said, everything's negotiable. There's always a way. And I appreciate the fact that you did that for her, not being self-serving. So that, I mean, she'll probably send you clients down the road just because of that. And I think sometimes you have to give to get, and don't do it for that reason. It's just all about the being in service to other people and figuring out a way that what you know can help someone else. I love that about you. So thank you.
It's really what would you say? Like, it's my privilege to be able to be gifted the things that I know and be so freely and open to be able to give them. And I can Rolodex them out of my brain and say, let's try this. Let's solve this. Like, I love that. So that's why I said, if you want to meet with me, there's some sort of reason. Let's go.
Let's talk about that. How would they go about getting a hold of you? What's the best way? We will post some show notes with information that you gave us to share, but what would be the best way? Just saying it on air.
Oh, well, my favorite way is to find me on LinkedIn under Tiffany Alexander. And if you're like, well, there's a few of those, you can find my podcast, which goes straight to my booking page, is Unveiling Journeys with Tiffany Alexander. And then the fund that I own where we buy these mortgages, my calendar link is right on there on aspensagefund.com.
Okay, real quick. Would that be mortgages if someone was looking for maybe a retreat venue and knew something was in trouble or somebody wanted to get out of it? In that situation, would that be something they could contact you about too?
I am open to all of those conversations, because if I don't have an answer, I bet I have a guy. I've got a referral to you for someone. We could figure this out.
Yes, you do. I will admit that. Okay. Well, thanks so much for being on the show. Everybody, thanks for listening. You'll know how to get a hold of Tiffany. And I hope if this has helped you make some decisions in the future or right away, whatever that works, we hope you can do that. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
See you next time. Bye for now.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of All Things Retreat. We hope you're leaving with new ideas, fresh inspiration, and the motivation to take your retreats to the next level. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. It helps us grow and reach more retreat leaders like you. And if you have any questions, topics you'd like us to cover, or just want to say hello, send us an email at info@weretreatrnr.com. Follow us on social media to stay connected and catch all the latest updates. Until next time, remember, great retreats start with great intentions. Let's make them extraordinary, one step at a time.